What's up, Internet? My name's Ori. It is Thursday, August 28th, day number 52. Inside the Big Brother house, it is eviction day. Where do things stand as we head toward tonight's live vote? Plus, Ava overhears a conversation and realizes she might not be as safe as she once thought. Let's talk about that, plus all the intel drama and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button if you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video, you'll never miss a stream. Speaking of, we will be live here on the channel tonight for our watch party for tonight's live eviction episode. Make sure you guys come on out. Our watch parties are always a lot of fun hanging out with you guys in chat during the episode, so come on out for that. But a little bit of a recap for you. If you haven't been keeping up with everything going on this week, Vince pulled out the win in the HOH wall competition, and he nominated Mickey, Kelly, and Ava as he tried to straddle the middle of the house. But Mickey went on to win the power of veto. And by the way, haven't been talking about the episodes as much during the updates, but I have to give a big shout out to that veto competition. I thought it was going to be really interesting with kind of the Princess Bride switching of the poison cup situation. And it did end up being a really fun competition. Acting was a little over the top. It was a little over the top, but overall, I thought it was a really cool, fun competition that I would love to see come back again in future seasons. So Mickey won the veto, and she used it on herself to take herself off the block. And then Vince put Catherine up on as the replacement. It was a slow day yesterday. I'm going to be honest with you. We had a very long, and I mean long, game of chess with Lauren and Keanu. It took Lauren about 20 minutes to make each move. But then we had some other developments going on because there has been a lot of talk about the vote, right, on who should go, whether it should be Kelly, Catherine, or Ava even has had her name brought up a bunch. We had Ava and Catherine kind of chatting about what they thought things were going to be, and they both really do think that Kelly would be the one to go, as long as she doesn't win the blockbuster, right? As long as she doesn't keep herself safe during this eviction, then it will probably be Kelly that would go. Ava says between Catherine and herself, she doesn't know which one of them would go. Even though Ava at that moment did think that she was pretty safe, but that didn't last long. Like I said, there was some movement in different directions, right? Even the movement for a potential vote to save Kelly this week was happening with Rachel and Morgan. We talked about how the two of them had thought about, hey, maybe the best move might be that. Even yesterday, we had Rachel going to Morgan and saying that actually, you know what, keeping Kelly could still be something that would be the best move, right? But they still seem like they were in favor of keeping Ava no matter what, but only if it was Kelly versus Catherine, they would actually consider sending Catherine out over Kelly. We then had a pretty long Vince and Lauren conversation where Lauren was pretty much telling Vince she doesn't know what she wants to do. And it's really been kind of tough, trying to figure it out because she doesn't want to go talk to a lot of people and be weird. It's like, this is Big Brother. That's the whole point. You go talk to people and it ends up being weird. But she was basically just saying it sounds like whoever is next to Ava is probably going to be going home. And that Kelly is attempting to get a vote, but that's only if she's up there against Catherine. And, if Catherine wins the blockbuster, then maybe Kelly could get that other vote, saying that she has right now Keanu, Catherine, and then possibly Lauren, who would maybe vote for her to stay over Ava. But even then, it doesn't seem like it's likely for that to happen. And Lauren doesn't necessarily think that's something she wants to do. They also bring up that she would need Morgan to want to kind of vote her out, but Morgan wants to keep Ava. And Vince said, like, make sure, don't tell Kelly that Morgan is going to be keeping Ava. Vince also tells Lauren that, hey, you know what? Morgan has been very skeptical of you, right? With that whole vote to evict her. And she's really holding that against you for some reason. So once again, Vince really trying to make sure people on either side of him that he's working with are all fighting each other instead of himself. And it doesn't seem like many of them are actually comparing notes and then deciding to go against Vince. So that's kind of an interesting little development that's been going on here. One of the other things they brings up is if Ava wins, that it could even be a tie, right? And then at this point, Vince starts to have to consider, who we would vote to keep. And he says, listen, Lauren, If it ends up being that situation, if Ava wins and it's a tie, I'll actually just defer to you. Like, what do you want? Because I'm the one who put us in this situation in the first place. So, Lauren, I would break the tie in whatever favor you would like with that. And it does seem like she would actually rather Catherine stay over Kelly, but Vince has some reservations on either way of that too, just because there are people who, like I said, Morgan and Rachel, who had been pushing the opposite, that maybe Kelly should stay. Vince also says that Ashley swears that, uh, Lauren, Catherine, and Ava all have this big final three. And Lauren's like, no, we don't. That's not a thing. And Vince says, like, she's always got her weird theories. So maybe that's just something to keep in mind because it's what she's telling other people. So once again, Vince trying to make sure that both sides of the house are fighting each other, not him. And Lauren also ends up telling Vince, like, I just can't go against Catherine, right? Like, that's kind of a thing. And I'm thinking that maybe it might be a good thing for Ava to go because she is so loved that, if we keep her around, maybe it makes sense because who's going to end up putting her up the block? Vince even goes on to say, like, if it came down to a tie with Ava involved, he thinks that Ava is worse for his game, and would almost for sure put him back up on the block. She's already done it once. He put her up on the block. So it would make sense that they would go and Ava would put him back up on the block again. So maybe it would be good for Ava to go. Plus, she is so loved. Who's going to put her up on the block? And Lauren says, like, yeah, as much as I love Ava, right? Like, she is kind of like the worst for my game out of the three of them. But then Lauren goes on, right? She, like I said, she had the real hesitation to go even talk to people, but she went and had a conversation with Ashley just to see where her head's at as well. And they start talking about, the different pros and cons. And then eventually they do even bring up the idea of, like, hey, if it came down to Ava and Catherine, that's going to be a really hard decision, right? Especially, who knows, that could end up even being a tie vote. Thing was, they were having this conversation with a sleeping Ava just over their shoulder in the bunk bed. Now, this isn't the first time that somebody has gotten caught talking about Ava while she's been literally laying in the bunk bed right above them. And Ava hears the whole thing. Eventually, Lauren kind of goes and runs back up to Vince. She's like, I had this whole conversation with Ashley, and now I'm worried that she heard everything. But she's like, I don't even know if I said anything bad. Maybe I didn't say anything bad. Ashley comes up and she's like, yeah, I don't think necessarily you said anything bad. I think we're okay. But Ava does kind of relay most of the conversation to Rachel, saying, like, I think there's a good chance I might actually be in a little bit of trouble right now. Right. Like, especially if it ends up being Catherine. I don't know. They were just kind of talking about, like, it could even be a tie. I didn't even know that was a possibility. She lets Will know this as well, that, hey, I'm a little bit worried now. Am I good? And everybody kind of reassures her that she does have the votes to stay no matter what. So that is just a situation that we're running into here as well. We also had Rachel, Vince, and Morgan kind of debating on who the primary target should be once again. And they keep going back and forth on whether or not it should be Catherine or Kelly as that primary one. They all seem to agree that Ava should stay regardless. But between Catherine and Kelly, it's like, I don't know which one is actually better. Rachel actually brings up a pretty good point that if Ava were to win HOH, she would be more willing to put up Kelly than Catherine would. But they also say, Kelly, game wise, probably is unfortunately better for them to stay because of that. But this is also thrown back and forth, and Vince kind of pushes back that, hey, maybe it should be actually more Kelly that should go, right? Because she's better at competitions, a little bit more unpredictable. And they kind of decide, like, hey, why don't we just get the judges together at the end, right? And then we can decide, at a meeting a little bit later. They end up deciding that, most of them are going to go to bed. But before bed, Vince actually checks in with Mickey. And he actually got out of Mickey that, yeah, I actually wouldn't mind if Ava were to go. But one of the things is I can't go against Will and Ashley. But if it did end up being a tie, right, that wouldn't necessarily be that bad of a thing if Ava did go. Vince goes and tells Morgan all this, and they actually plan to use this information against the judges, and also, or not against the judges, but against Mickey with the judges, and as well as Ava saying, like, yeah, Ava, did you know that if it was going to be a tie, Mickey was the one who caused the tie, and she wanted you to go if that was the case. So they think that's actually something they can actually use now. And because of that, it probably means that Kelly would be the better one to go, since they think that they can actually get Ava to put up someone like Mickey, and easier for them to do that than it would be for Ava to put up someone like Kelly. that's why it would make more sense for Catherine actually to be the one who should go. So it's kind of in development here where I don't even think Vince is really sharing his true thoughts with everybody. He's kind of just trying to debate himself on which way it should go. I still think as of now, Ava would be staying no matter what. And then I think it still would be Catherine who stays over Kelly. But let's kind of break down the votes here and how things could really work out with our allegiance chart. Not too much has changed here from the other day where I kind of brought Vince down a little bit. Ava, like we talked about, she's been in a really good spot in this game. And I think because of that, she has the votes that she's going to need to stay in all the scenarios. But one of the things is because she's in that spot, and we talked about this with Zach, sometimes being in that place is a very visible spot that people start to realize. And if they realize you're there, they want to start taking shots at you. And that's something that Ava's kind of falling into now, where people are starting to realize, hey, wait a minute, maybe Ava would be good to get rid of because nobody else is going to want to get rid of her. But as of now, Ava would have Will's vote locked in, Rachel's vote locked in, Ashley's vote locked in. And it also seems like Morgan's vote now locked in. That would be 4 votes no matter what that Ava would stay. Mickey also, it seems like, would be interested in maybe Ava leaving, but doesn't want to go against Will and Ashley. So that would be 5 for Ava to stay, pretty much over Catherine and Kelly. Otherwise, you would have Lauren and Keanu voting the other way, and then one of the 2 nominees, if they were happen to come off the block, with Kelly and Catherine being on the other side. It would be 5-3. Ava would stay no matter what. If it comes down with Catherine or with Kelly, right? Between the 2 of those, that's where maybe it could also get a little bit tricky here. You would have Lauren and Keanu, who would both be voting to keep Catherine in the game over Kelly, which is kind of an interesting situation in that aspect too. And then you would have over on the other side, Will, Morgan, Rachel, Ashley, all potentially voting to keep Kelly in the game over Catherine because they feel like it would be more likely for Ava to put Mickey up. It would be more likely for Ava to put Kelly up than it would be for Ava to put Catherine up on the block. So they're really kind of playing it on the edge of who people would put up. The other thing is Catherine and Kelly both would probably put up similar people. So it's just really interesting to see how they're all breaking this down. And the Catherine Kelly vote, I think, is still a little bit hard to call, but I think overall, it would end up probably switching back that Kelly is just too good and too tough to beat in these competitions, too much of a risk and a wild card to keep around. So in the end, I think it's going to end up being where Lauren, Keanu would vote out Kelly. I think then Morgan, Rachel, Ashley, and Will would also probably jump on board to vote out Kelly because Catherine staying in the game just makes a little bit more sense. They also think Catherine is more likely to put up Mickey than Kelly would be to put up Mickey. So to me, it feels like they would end up switching back over and not sticking with keeping Kelly, and they would keep Catherine. But again, this could go back and forth here. Morgan and Rachel were really the ones kind of pushing, keeping Kelly in the first place. Will seemed a little bit non-committal, right? He was a little bit more leaning towards the way of, yeah, Catherine's too much of a wild card. But I do think that group with the judges are all going to kind of vote together on whatever way they end up choosing. So it's really might even come down to tomorrow when they all end up meeting before the vote. So we'll see how that all plays out. But what do you guys think? Who do you think will end up being evicted tonight? Will it be Catherine? Will it be Kelly? Will it be Ava? Now that she even finds that she might be in a little bit more danger, actually getting a few votes at this eviction if she ends up there on the block still. So what do you guys think? Who should be evicted? Who do you want to see win the blockbuster competition? And who do you want to see be evicted? Plus, we will end up with a brand new HOH for the week. Who would you like to see become HOH as we head on into the next week? Thank you guys all so much for all the love and support you show me here on this channel. Each and every one of you coming out and joining me here every single morning is always just completely mind-blowing that even one person shows up. And now we've grown to so many of you that enjoy this content every day. But if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, smash that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Like I said, we will be live here tonight for the watch party for the live eviction episode. It's always a lot of fun hanging out with you guys in chat, so make sure you come on out for that. Check out the links to all of my socials in the pinned comment description down below. You can check out things like Twitter. I think we're getting really close to 1,000 likes on Twitter. Also, check out things like the Discord and everything else. We got the Ori Fund, never required, always appreciated. But thank you guys all again so much, and I will see you tonight.
Well, Vince, like I'm going crazy right now and I'm so hungry. I literally have one protein shake in my body. I have tea and I have coffee. I am literally bouncing off every single wall and I'm so freaking hungry. I can't wait to eat literally everything in sight.
We cannot be more opposite right now. I can't even keep my eyes.
Balls. Can I scoot you? I feel like I'm the one who looks like I don't know. The impressionable guy who's like always anxious. I'm gonna look like the neurotic, nervous kid.